right, so let me take you back a bit. This was around the time of the housing crisis, about 2008. I was just a high schooler looking for ways to keep entertained. And one of my buddies, let's call him Eric, had this hobby, urban exploring, we called it. We'd sneak into abandoned homes, ones that had been foreclosed and left to rot. But of course, it had to be at night. Because, well, getting caught wasn't exactly on our agenda. Now, I can't tell you the exact location because, believe it or not, people live in those houses now. But this story, it's been burned into my brain. And after hearing what happened, you'll understand why. It was close to midnight, and Eric and I had been wandering around for about an hour, searching for the perfect house. And then, there it was. I'd passed it before on my way to school. A big house sitting alone with a tall, overgrown lawn. We figured, let's do this one. We walked down the driveway, weaving through knee-high grass, and noticed another smaller building farther back. We told ourselves, we'll check that out later. The front door? Unlocked? Almost like it wanted us to come in. We enter through the garage and step into this massive kitchen. The place was pitch black except for faint light from street lamps shining through. So I pull out my phone, which, back then, was this ancient flip phone with a barely bright screen. But it did the trick. Just enough light to make our way around. As we moved from room to room, I was struck by the size of this place. It was quiet. Almost too quiet. We finished checking all the rooms and found ourselves back in the kitchen. We're talking about how big the house was, and then I noticed this metal decoration above the kitchen doorway. It looked like a small decorative shield, so I pull it down to check it out. When I finish, I couldn't figure out how to put it back, so I just leave it on the tile by my feet. But as I step back, we both hear this distinct sound, metal scraping against the floor, sliding down the hall. And then, bang! The shield was at the end of the hallway. Eric and I freeze, just staring at each other like, did you see that? Is someone here? I don't know what to say, so we decide to check it out. And sure enough, there's the shield, just lying there. I think, maybe I kicked it. Maybe I didn't realize. But as I bend down to pick it up, something catches my eye. A dark shape at the other end of the hall, shifting just out of reach of the light. We try to stay calm, trying to rationalize it. I even managed to reattach the shield above the doorway this time. But as soon as I step away, clang, clang, there it goes again, sliding back down the hallway and banging into the wall. And that's when we hear it. A loud bang from the far end of the house, like something heavy being thrown. Then bang, bang, bang. Something's thrashing around in one of the rooms down there. And here we are, staring down a pitch black hallway, scared out of our minds, but too stubborn to leave. I don't know what came over us, but we ran toward that last room, ready to confront whoever or whatever was messing with us. But we get there, and it's empty. The only way out was through this sliding door to the backyard, and it was locked from the inside. Then, as we're standing there, another bang. But this time, it's coming from the kitchen. That's it. We'd had enough. We ran out the back door, practically sprinting down the street. As we're walking away, Eric suddenly stops, patting his pockets. He turns to me, looking worried, and says, "Dude, my knife is gone. My favorite one." And I'm just staring at him, thinking, how the hell did you lose it? Then he starts complaining about a burning feeling on his back. I pull up his shirt, and there they are. 3 huge scratches, deep and red, from his shoulder blade down to his hip. I tell him, and he immediately freaks out, but still wants to go back for his knife. Now I'm thinking he's out of his mind, but I'm not about to let him go in alone. We get back inside and start looking for this knife, ignoring the bangs and creaks. Finally, we're in the kitchen again, and we see something shiny in the second living room near this old hutch. And there it is. Eric's knife, just sitting on the hutch. The strange thing was, we'd already checked that room. We didn't wait around to see what else might happen. We grabbed the knife and bolted, deciding once and for all that we were never coming back. But the story didn't end there. We kept talking about that house, the mystery of it, the feeling we'd had inside. After a few days, we convinced ourselves it couldn't have been that bad. So, we brought a few more friends with us to see for themselves. And that's when things got even stranger. We enter, and this time, there's a shelf stacked high with light bulbs by the garage. The five of us move into the kitchen, and as I shut the door, we hear all those light bulbs shattering all at once. No one moved. We just stood there, listening, as if waiting for something to attack. From that point on, everything just went wild. Banging in every room, things being thrown, shadows moving across the walls. And then, Eric's brother, he was standing by a doorway, and it's like something yanked him forward, forcing him to fall into the next room. He turns around, furious, thinking one of us shoved him, but we were all staring right at him from across the room. By now, all of us are done, ready to get out. But before we leave, someone says, "Check your pockets." And guess what? His knife is missing too. We do one last look around and find it, stabbed deep into the front door, as if it had been waiting for us to see it before we left. I never went back to that house again. Whatever was in there didn't want us there, and after that night we took the hint. Maybe some places are just better left alone.